the magic behind the QR code. Hi there, everyone. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. You're listening to the slow recording of Plain English. If you want to listen to the fast version, you can do that by joining as a Plus member, and all the details are at plainenglish.com/plus. And in case you're wondering, the fast version is a fresh recording where I record the whole lesson at full speed, just the same way I would speak to a friend in English. It's not a mechanical speeding up of the slow version. It's a fresh version every lesson for Plus members. Well, JR is the producer, and this lesson is number 425, and that means the full transcript and the rest of today's lesson can all be found at plainenglish.com/425. Coming up today, QR codes. They're simple and convenient. Just open your phone's camera, point it at the confusing black and white square, and the link pops up on your phone. But have you ever stopped to think about how those codes work? That's what we'll talk about today. The expression we have for you is the naked eye, and JR has a song of the week. Let's get going. We've all seen them, these confusing black and white square codes that we're supposed to scan with our smartphones to open a link in our browsers. They look like crossword puzzles, but without any letters or numbers in them. QR codes have exploded in popularity in recent years, popping up on marketing posters, receipts, restaurant tables, smartphone apps, COVID testing centers, bus tickets, and more. These square-shaped black and white codes are indecipherable to the naked eye, but they contain the information needed to open a web page on a browser and therefore to do anything that can be done with a single string of text or numbers. A QR code is just one type of code called a 2D barcode. Two-dimensional or 2D barcodes are an improvement on the old style single-dimension barcodes of the past. You know the kind. They're on almost all pre-packaged products at your supermarket. They're on shipping labels, and they're on parts in a factory. The old barcodes were developed in the 1960s and were a horizontal pattern of black lines on a white background. The thickness of the lines corresponded to a number. It made reading numbers easy for special scanners. It eliminated the need for a person to type numbers into a database when tracking things like at the checkout line at a store. A machine can read a barcode in a fraction of a second. Barcodes became popular in the 1980s and helped many businesses become more efficient. But barcodes have some limitations. First, they only contain numbers, not text. Second, if you want a long number, you need a really long barcode. And third, to read barcodes, you need a special type of scanner. Oh, and they also have to be read horizontally. You can't rotate a barcode 90 degrees. 2D barcodes are an improvement in almost every way. They are squares or rectangles with black and white dots and shapes that can relay information to a scanner. What type of information? A 2D barcode can contain letters, numbers, and special characters. You can fit more information into a 2D barcode than you can into an old-fashioned one. That's why 2D barcodes are so useful. They can generate longer strings of information like highly complex website URLs. What's more, they're space efficient. They can be scanned upside down, backwards, or at an angle. They can transmit 300 times more information in the exact same amount of space as a traditional barcode. 2D barcodes can be read by a smartphone, something almost everyone has. And smartphone cameras can now read the 2D barcodes and open a browser if the codes correspond to a URL. There are many types of 2D barcodes, but the most common is called the QR code. The technology was developed by a subsidiary of Toyota, the Japanese car maker. They were looking for ways to improve the process of vehicle assembly, and they were frustrated by the limitations of a traditional barcode. The technology to generate the codes is quite valuable, but the patent holders decided to make the coding behind QR codes open source in 1994. That means that the specific way to generate and read a QR code is open to anyone. That's why QR codes are the most popular type of 2D barcodes. A QR code has multiple parts. You probably noticed that most QR codes have 3 big squares, one in each of 3 corners. This tells the scanner which way is up. The corner without a big square is in the bottom right. That way, you can scan a QR code upside down, and the reader will know which way is up. A 4th, smaller square helps scanners read the code if the code is scanned at an angle or is curved. Second, there is a region that is the same on every QR code. It's 2 strips of alternating black and white squares. That helps the reader decipher the whole image in case there are distortions. For example, if it's blurry, faded, damaged, or scanned at an angle. QR codes come in multiple sizes. If you just need a short string of text or numbers, a micro QR code would do the trick. If you need a long string of text, such as for a complicated URL, then a larger code is necessary. The biggest codes can contain either 7,000 digits of just numbers or about 4,000 characters made up of letters and numbers. Anyone can generate a QR code for any string of text for free on the internet today. And there's no risk of creating a duplicate code. Each QR code contains the unique string of text needed to open a URL or reproduce a string of characters. Today, QR codes have many uses. Next week, we'll devote a lesson to the many ways that QR codes have been incorporated into our daily life. There's at least one from Japan that you just won't believe. I remember when I first found out what a barcode did. I was a teenager and I worked at the YMCA. It's kind of like a community center and fitness center in my hometown in Connecticut. I worked at the front desk, checking members in, signing new members up, answering questions, etc. When members would arrive, they'd scan their membership cards through a barcode reader, and I could see on the screen of the computer that all the barcode reader did was enter a number into a box in a database. And it dawned on me then that a barcode is just a string of numbers. I had no idea. Well, I had a similar epiphany when I wrote this lesson. I thought a QR code was generated by a central company, and I thought there was going to be a limit to how many unique QR codes could be generated. For example, would we ever run out of possible QR codes? Would we ever accidentally duplicate them? Well, it's kind of like saying, will we ever run out of web addresses? Or will there ever be duplicate web addresses? The answer is no. We just make the QR codes bigger and more complicated. So, in other words, the QR code is the URL in the same way that a barcode is just a number. And if you want a longer URL, you need a bigger QR code. Now, even the long, complicated URLs are only a couple hundred characters long, so we're in no danger of running out of QR codes. Today's expression is to the naked eye, and this simply means what you can see without any type of technological assistance. If you look at a QR code, you, as a human, cannot do anything with it. Your eyes just see a blur of black and white. To the naked eye, the QR codes are just a blur of black and white. Without any type of technological assistance, you would not be able to open a website URL just by looking at a QR code. That's because, to the naked eye, they're indecipherable. However, if you have a smartphone camera, then a QR code becomes a lot more useful. With a smartphone camera, you can scan a QR code and open a URL, which, in turn, can do many things for you. So, QR codes are useful only if you have the technological assistance. Experts can often tell whether a famous painting is the original or if it's a forgery. But the best forgeries look exactly like the original to the naked eye. A person, even a highly trained person, cannot tell a forgery from the original with the naked eye. That means just with their eyesight. Even professionals cannot tell originals from forgeries sometimes. However, experts can use special equipment to analyze a painting to determine if it's original or a forgery. Some things cannot be seen at all without assistance. A particle of the coronavirus is 50 to 150 nanometers wide. It's called the coronavirus because when you look at the virus particle, it's shaped like a crown or a corona in Latin. Well, you and I, however, cannot look at the virus even if we catch it. That's because a virus particle is not visible to the naked eye. It's not visible at all without a microscope. The only reason we know the shape is that we have technological assistance in the form of microscopes. Microscopes help us see things that are too small to be seen with the naked eye. But telescopes help us see things that are too far away to be seen with the naked eye. Pluto is far away. You cannot see it with the naked eye. That means you cannot see the planet Pluto without some type of technological assistance. However, Pluto is visible with a telescope, so we would say Pluto is not visible to the naked eye, or we cannot see Pluto with the naked eye. Both of those mean that Pluto cannot be seen without some kind of assistance. JR has selected a song for us this week, and that song is Boxing by The Gardener and the Tree. It's on the album called Intervention, which just came out last month. The band is from Switzerland, and they've been around since 2013. They've been recognized by Swiss radio stations and music award shows. Well, that's all for today's lesson. Congratulations on making it to the end. I hope you found this one entertaining. I have a feeling we're going to see more and more QR code applications. If anyone here works at Apple, I have a product innovation I'd like to see. I want to be able to point my phone at a QR code and have the option to launch the page without having to open my camera app. Now, I don't want it to be automatic in case I scan a code by accident, but I'd love to point my phone at a code and not need to open the camera app first, just in case any listeners are at Apple and working on new innovations. This is on my tech wish list. Well, remember, we're back here on Monday with a brand new lesson. See you then.